Alright, guys, here we are. We're back. It's Jeff and Kenny. We're going to bring you guys a tier list for the SBF Pro teams. You guys didn't ask for it. You probably don't want it. But it's Saturday night and we're not working. So, what else to do than give you guys SBF content? Lion, are you ready?
Oh, I'm absolutely ready.
Alright, go ahead and start us off with the Yetis. I'm going to let you take the Yetis since they don't matter. Tell me where you put the Yetis.
The Yetis, I'm going to have to put
Yeetus.
the Yeetus, according to as the Crystal Wizard will call it.
Yes.
I have to say.
Strongly disagree.
Wow, that is.
I thought you were done.
Okay. I want to put them up higher, but I know they just.
Minus?
No, well, I mean, yeah, but I want to put them higher than a B.
Oh.
But I don't know. I don't think I could do that because they just lost to the Talons.
And they also lost to the Dragons.
Yeah, they also lost to the Dragons and the Talons in this last few weeks. So I have to bump them down a little bit. I think they're a C tier team.
I mean, I honestly at this point think C might be generous. But if I was making,
I think it is too, and that's I'm higher on them than I probably should be.
I think I'd put them in C as well, just because I feel like they should be better than a D, and they could hit a hot streak at any point. I mean, they still have Reggie O'Brien and Joe Weber, so.
Exactly, and it's like that. Okay, so it's biased because those two are original Talons, and I've seen what they become without me, and it hurts my soul. But I see them, and I know that they have the ability to compete in that C tier. But when you go ahead and you lose to the Dragons and the Talons in the same 2-week stretch, it's like I can't be any more generous than a C.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and do the Venom. I'm gonna do the Venom. I like the direction the Venom's going. I always say it every time I talk about the Venom. I'm cutting them slack this year. They started from the bottom. They had very little opportunity in free agency. I mean, the whole world was going against the Venom, yet they still put together a roster and they can compete. The crazy thing is, if you look at the standings, I believe the Venom right now are 8-3. They actually are one of the top teams in the SBF. But when you really break down their schedule, they've played a lot of AI teams. Like most all 8 wins were AI teams. So maybe not all 8. I have to look at it, but I remember thinking.
But the majority of them, at least.
Majority, if not all. So I gotta put the Venom below the Yetis, so I'm gonna go D.
I think that's fair.
The reason I have to put them below the Yetis have 2 superstars. Yes, right now the Venom look better than the Yetis, but I also think the Venom are benefiting from an easy schedule to begin the year, and the Venom just don't have that superstar. Not any fault to the GM. They're still working on it. They're wheeling and dealing. Just picked up some extra draft picks for the future. That should help them out. But for this season, I think they're over. I mean, don't get me wrong. 2 weeks from now, if they're still overachieving and they pick up a couple of big wins, like maybe have them beat a Rattlesnakes team or the Stallions once, then I would gladly throw them up. But right now, I'm going to stick them at D.
Yeah, I can agree with D, mainly because I think they're just one of those teams that you can't move up until they start to prove themselves a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, we need to see some more user games.
I'm going to give you access to the Warriors.
All right, the Warriors.
The Warriors hot off of a big trade with the Stingrays to go acquire Bryce Dyson.
Oh, I am a huge Bryce Dyson fan. But another, they just haven't gotten like a whole lot of. They almost seem streaky to me because I looked at their last week's schedule and they have losses against like the Tornadoes and the Dragons a couple of times, but then they go out and they beat the Ballers, and you're like, I'm not sure what this team is.
Yeah.
So like, I want to put them in that same C tier as the Yetis.
gonna be the
Maybe.
first one where we disagree. I would have put them in the B tier, but I also can see an argument for C tier. I'm not mad at the C tier, but my thought is Rod Roberts is a dominant center. He's always been a dominant center. Bryce Dyson is a dominant small forward. They have two stars, and right now they're playing good basketball. So I would have put them B, but I accept C.
Yeah, I was kind of hesitant to lower them to C, but just because of their streaky track record, I have a hard time putting them there. So that's why I went with it.
Let's do the Talons.
Whoa,
Let me
easy,
do the Talons.
easy, Buckaroo.
They are bad.
Oh, whoa,
But the
now
question is, are they worse than the Venom?
I'd put them as a B.
I'm trying to not be biased here. Like everybody knows my public hate for the Talons,
They all
but
know you're just joking.
I want I want the Talons to be good. That's the common misconception. It's not that I don't want the Talons to be good. It's that they frustrate me. It's like I'm a Lions fan, so I can't also be a Talons fan. I can't do it twice. I can't constantly be disappointed by two different sports franchises. And that's what the Talons do
How
to me.
dare you compare me to them?
I mean, am I wrong?
Yes,
How?
I've not had a winless season.
Okay. Not yet, you haven't. the
Until
Lions.
I do, I refuse to get put on their
The
level.
Lions. I mean, you hit streaks where you lost more games than the Lions did that season.
I miss your point.
So I'm gonna put them on the same tier as the Venom. I'm not gonna put them below the Venom because the Talons still have a couple of good pieces. I could see them hitting a hot streak. I mean, they have Dallas Hawkins, one of the better players in the league. Hawkins is a star, but Jeffrey John, I still think has some work to do. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and go D. I'm gonna let you take the Lynx next.
All right. While I think the Talons should hover around S tier, I'm gonna go ahead and have to say the Lynx are going to be. I'm gonna go D tier for the Lynx too,
Zach Boulder, Walter
and
White, Damian Bryant.
that's tough for me to do because this Lynx team was not great last year, and they improved, but they haven't. I was gonna say that's almost right.
Wrong cat.
Wrong cat. But they're one of those teams that, kind of like where I have the Yetis, where it's like, man, I want to put them higher, but they're going to have to prove it if they want to go up higher. And I think the Yetis have kind of a higher ceiling, so that's why I put the Lynx there. Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree. I would have firmly put Lynx in a C tier. I wouldn't have had any doubt. There's not the Lynx are not as bad as the Talons. They are not as bad as the
Listen,
Venom. The
I'm
Lynx
like it's
have
that's kind of just this weird situation of this tier list though, is because I agree with you that I put them above the Talons and the Venom. I just don't know if I want to put them on the same tier as like the Yetis.
I do just because Damian Bryant, Walter White, Zach Boulder, I think can compete with the duo of Bryce Dyson and Rod Roberts or the duo of Weber and O'Brien. So I agree. I think the Yetis would have been C tier hovering on B, whereas the Lynx are C tier hovering on D. So I can
I think I actually will move them to C with my pick. Then
I
so
wish there was a C
you've convinced me.
minus.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we should just be a little bit more generous and put people up to B if we think they're a little bit better.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Guardians next. Guardians. They are underperforming hard so far this season. Dion Hill looks like a skeleton of himself. He is not the Dion Hill that we saw last season, and the Guardians still have at about an average record. For that reason, I'm going to put them as a B tier. Because when Dion Hill picks it up, when Chris Myers picks it up, when Brandon Shipley picks it up, they have the same team that they did last year except add Bobby Johnson. I still think this is a very talented roster. The new GM for the Guardians has not really been active yet. He's still there. I've spoke with him. He's got plans, but still kind of figuring this whole GM thing out. I think once he dives into some game planning and adjustments, the roster's talented enough to be a B tier team.
Yeah, I think this roster's talented enough to be an A tier team, in my opinion. But when you have like all of these losses, like I'm pretty sure they lost to the Lynx and another one of these teams that we've already listed in the last couple of weeks too. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those extremely talented, underperforming teams, like you started off saying. So I think B is about right.
All right, I'm gonna let you take the next one, and I'm gonna let you take. Let's give you the Cayman, formerly known as the Vixens. So same roster as the Vixens, but new GM.
Hmm.
Active GM, motivated GM. So if anything, I'd say they're slightly better than they were when they were the Vixens.
So they've got Baldwin. They've got superstar Mike Welker. I like that.
Derek Walker, Calvin Reed, Mel
Mel
McDaniels,
McDaniels.
Eddie Lyons off the bench, Jerry Little.
Hmm.
They're a defensive powerhouse, real good at rebounding. When the offense is clicking, they're unstoppable. When their offense is not clicking, they are tough to watch.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like their defense. I really don't have a problem with. Like I've seen them play good against good offenses, but you're right. When their offense is stagnant, it is stagnant. I'm gonna put them in B tier just because when we see them with their offense rolling, I think they can go toe to toe with the big dogs in the league.
I agree with that. All right, Cayman B tier. Next one, I'm going to take this one because I don't know how up to date you are with this season of the SBF Pro League. The Ballers.
Well,
They
this
are
one's an
bad this
interesting one.
season. I don't know why, but they're bad. Really bad. Like, they are struggling hard. I'm still going to put them as a B tier because I think their roster is talented enough to easily compete with the Cayman and Guardians. But the Ballers are playing bad. You would think, based off the fact that they brought back most of the same team, added Ricky Cross in the championship last season, they'd be an easy A tier, but they're not. The Ballers have been a disappointment. Ricky Cross has been a mega star for the team. Ed Payne not playing the same, not protecting the paint like he did last season. It's almost making you wonder, was Zach Boulder the foundation to that front court? Whereas the Ballers thought it was Ed Payne. You lost Boulder instead of Payne, and now you can't protect the rim anymore.
Like my working theory, and I apologize for comparing it to football, but it's kind of like when the Rams went to the Super Bowl and teams started figuring them out in the playoffs, but they were still good enough to get there, and then they lost, kind of like the Ballers did for the championship game. And then the next season that they were tough because they stuck together. They tried to keep the same core, the same scheme, and I think this is the exact same situation where everybody set their sights on them because they know that they are the big dogs, and they're just starting to figure them out. That's my working theory.
All right, so you content with B?
I think B is good for them.
All right, I'm gonna give you the Hoop Stars.
All right, the Hoop Stars. Their team is they got Webb, KJ Collins,
Michael Self, Sean
Michael
Self,
Self.
Gianna
Oh
Self,
man,
Hershey Allen, Victor Lynn. Right now, they have the best record in the league.
I I mean I can't put them anything other than S tier
I don't
right now.
agree, but I also can't argue it.
That's kind of I'm hesitant to put them at S tier rather than A plus because I don't like giving out S tier in general because I think all teams have the ability to improve. But I mean, it's hard to be more impressive than top of the league, winning every game with like nothing but potential on your roster.
Yeah, I mean they're hitting the three ball, they're rebounding, they're defending. Their fast break leaves a little something to be desired, but all in all, I would agree. If there was an S tier, they would be one of them. And I'm going to go ahead and do the next team. I think the only other S tier in the league are the Cali Bobcats. I am high on them right now. The Cali Bobcats look unstoppable. If the Bobcats went toe to toe with the Hoop Stars today, I truly believe Kyrie Allen would dominate that game and win it for them. Kyrie Allen, it looks like he went. I know the Bobcats GM posted a picture when the whole team went on a vacation to Cancun, was it? At the end of last
I
season
think
when they
so.
left Yuri at home. I think that rejuvenated Kyrie Allen because, man, he comes back and he looks loose. He is scoring at will. He's sent two different rookies into the shadow realm with ankle breakers. Kyrie Allen just looks like a monster. And then people aren't even talking about the fact that Josh Allen is currently leading for Rookie of the Year, scoring 26 points per game. The Allen duo in Cali is fantastic right now.
All right, and then up next,
I'm gonna give you the
what do we got
Stingrays.
next? The
Stingrays
Stingrays.
right now have a worse record than the Talons.
Hmm.
Take that how it is. They still have Jamarius Randall. They still have Bean. They have Cletus.
They made a
So
trade recently, didn't they?
yeah, they gave away Bryce Dyson and
Bryce
acquired
Dyson and got.
Harvey Rodman and also acquired Junior Rollins. They added depth.
See, they may have the worst record, but I think this is another situation of the record doesn't tell the full story. Because watching them play, I don't think they're. I think they're above the Venom and the Talons. But I also think the record does need to speak for you because you are what your record says you are.
I
So
will say this
I'll
too. I think wherever you're about to put them, I'm gonna accept it. But the Stingrays are one small forward away from climbing from where you're gonna put them, which I'm guessing is C, all the way up to an A.
well, you were right. So put them there.
Because right now they have Junior Rollins playing the small forward spot, and he's too slow. He is a liability defensively going up against other teams' small forwards, absolutely being destroyed. And then offensively, the other team's small forwards are too tall and too quick. They're not allowing him to shoot the threes that he wants. So Junior Rollins is just terrible in the position he's at right now in Magic City. They are one small forward away from climbing up to an A tier, in my opinion.
I mean, I could. That's one of the nice things about these tier lists because this is like where are you at right now, not necessarily what you have the potential to be. Even though that factors into it a little bit, so I could definitely see them climbing and being one of those upper echelon C teams who
My
can climb to A.
my next one, I'm going to be doing the Chupacabras. They're my first A plus team. Better than an A, worse than an S. Chupacabras, I believe, have the third best overall record right now, only one loss. Cassius Falls hit the gym hard this offseason. Cassius Falls is coming back on a revenge tour and looks like a different person. They just traded away Vin Woods. I don't know what that's going to do to their team chemistry. Hopefully, it's not going to hurt them. Maybe it'll help them. I doubt it. I'm not a big Desmond Patrick fan. But, nonetheless, these Chupacabras made all the right moves in the offseason. And my favorite second round pick right now to watch is from the Chupacabras. I believe his name's like Tyson Anthony. He's an absolute sniper from three, and he is a big reason that they are an A plus tier right now.
Yeah, I have no disagreements with that at all. I thought they were a team that last year was going to be competing for the title, and they got upset in the playoffs. And I definitely think that put a
Playoffs.
chip. Playoffs. I just want to win a game. And now they're on kind of that revenge tour.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Next one, I'm gonna let you take the Stallions.
all right, the Stallions.
Put a
I
one
feel
on the Venom.
I feel like the Stallions have been consistent as a franchise of being the most inconsistent team possible.
Right.
I they it is either sky highs or canyon lows. And right now, they went on a tear recently, if I remember right. And then they lost to the Rattlesnakes pretty bad. They put the whooping on the Venom. I think they beat the Guardians.
They've had a couple of really big wins recently.
Like there are some times where I want to just be like, this team is an A+ team. They've got so much talent, and then when they go against like these other teams that I feel like are these upper echelon teams, they just don't get the job done. So I think I want to put them as an A right now.
I like that. I don't have anything to add. I agree.
I think
Very high
that
highs, very low low. You hit the nail on the head.
so kind of right in the middle about where their record is.
Right now, they're playing like an A tier team. I could see them finishing the year as an F though. Next team I'm gonna do myself. I'm gonna do the I'll let you have the Assassins. I wrecked your team. I'll let you wreck mine. My team is struggling hard right now.
This is what I've been waiting for.
I'll do the Rattlesnakes.
Okay.
I'm gonna give them an A tier. Oh wait I'm gonna bump them up to A+.
See, I was literally just about to say I would disagree and put them at A+, but I understand why you're struggling with that decision.
They have lost a couple of bad games, but they also rise up to competition. Like in big games where I'm thinking, wow, this is gonna be a close one, they dominate. And then other times it's like, all right, let's give the Rattlesnakes an easy win here. They struggle or they barely win. So they're showing inconsistencies this season, which is frustrating me. But overall, they're winning a lot of really big games. I definitely think they have a really good chance to be right back in the finals next season. This season, actually. Their inconsistencies are scaring me. To see Russ Hopkins quiet down from last year, Travis Price, when he's hot, the team looks unstoppable. But I mean, the biggest thing that I've seen this year so far is the emergence of Harvey Rodman dominating the paint. So I'm gonna put them A+ tier.
Yeah, they're always one of those teams where it's like I don't know, and then when you see Travis Price and why am I blanking on the other guard's name?
Hopkins.
Hopkins. I kept wanting to call him Hawkins. Hopkins. When you see him and Hopkins go off, you're just like, why did I ever doubt this team?
Yep. All right, have at it. Rip into me.
All right. What's your record right now? I don't pay attention to the Assassins because they're terrible.
They're not. It's not good. It's not okay. It's not bad. Like I'm definitely top half of the league, but
compared to where they were.
Yeah, it's the downfall of the A-Town Assassins. But might I add a lineup change? So for those of you guys that don't follow the Assassins closely, which I know everybody does, because the Assassins are everybody's favorite team for very obvious reasons. I mean, purple.
I can name like 2 Assassins.
Who doesn't love purple and black? That's because you don't watch basketball, which is obvious by the way your Talons play.
Well, that was mean. This is supposed to mean my opportunity to rip into you, and you take it as a shot at me. Why don't you just rank them then?
Let me add this. So the Assassins' biggest struggle, they had the number 3 overall pick. They drafted Jay Blinko. I know I ripped into Jay. I've been tearing him apart. Jay is definitely underperforming, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm ready to blame Jay or if I'm blaming the team fit. So there has been a move. We are moving Jay to center, and we're moving Dustin Bass to power forward. Both players are 6'10". We're going to just embrace our small ball lineup and see what that does for Jay. Because that's the whole point here is we want Jay to get better. So,
listen, in my opinion, I don't think there is a chance that we see improvement out of Blinko Milicic at center. And I think putting Bass at the 4 might work, but I don't think that having Blinko as the number 5 is going to be very good, and I don't know if I see any improvement coming out of this
Well,
team
let me throw
to
this
be
at you
a
too.
playoff contender.
Blinko had a 50 offensive rebound and a 65 defensive rebound. Just used about 250 attribute points to upgrade both those to mid 80s. So his
That is
rebounding
true,
should
but
be, and he's 6'10. So he surprises me. He's not short, but I agree. He doesn't play like a strong center. The problem with the Assassins all season long is everybody's passing the ball. We have like 7 of the top 15 maestros in the league on this roster.
and when your center's best quality is his assisting, and they don't need assisting, I don't know how that can be much of an
Yes, so
improvement.
we got rid of somebody who was facilitating in exchange for Murray, who will never facilitate. So we're hoping
Oh
that
yeah, I forgot. You also added Murray, which means I automatically bump you down a tier in my mind.
so
He automatically sink.
our
He's like you're starting the boat race with a hole in your
our
hull
problem
immediately.
was too much facilitating, so we went and we grabbed somebody who will literally never facilitate. That's got to help, right?
I mean,
Just rank them. Just take the
listen,
band-aid off. Give me the rank.
Murray, Murray Williamson is anything but logical.
Give me the rank.
No, I don't think that they're that terrible. I'm gonna put them in the B tier.
Good. That's where I was gonna put myself, actually. I
Yeah, I think that's about where they're at.
I do
I'm being very objective with my rankings.
I do think that the Assassins still have really good talent. You got to remember Levi McNeil,
Yeah,
superstar.
I
Dustin
don't think you can
Bass.
ever count McNeil out.
Dustin Bass is a star. Jay Blinko might be the first user created player to hit that 90 overall mark. So, I mean, the Assassins have a big three. It's just finding that chemistry and finding a way to make it work. All right, next up, I'm going to let you do another one. I'm going to let you do the Tornadoes. That's right, Josh. I'm making you wait all the way through the video to see your team because I know you will. Other people will come in, look for
Milk
their team,
time.
say, oh, he hasn't talked about my team yet, and leave. Not you. I know you want to hear my take on your team so bad that you're waiting the entire video just to hear it. So I'm going to make you wait one more. Go ahead,
Well,
Ryan.
the Tornadoes. What can I say about them? Other than they lost to the Talons. F tier. Just kidding. They did lose to the Talons, though, and I will keep rubbing that in constantly.
But
But I will say,
they also
this
beat
team,
the Rattlesnakes, and they
they beat the
also
Rattlesnakes, the
yeah,
Stingrays a couple of times.
yeah.
Who else did they beat? Like the Guardians or somebody?
Yeah, they've beat a lot of teams. They're having a they have like 2 or 3 losses on the season, but one of them
Yeah,
happens to
they've
be.
had a lot of user team wins, but
I
it
would say the
takes.
Tornadoes have the toughest schedule to start the season. Most of
Which
their
is
games have been user games.
which is why I think they deserve a little bit more credit for their wins that they do have. So I'm gonna put them in that Stallions tier of A.
Okay, I agree.
I think if they don't have that Talons blemish, we're talking about them in the same breath that we are the Choops and Rattlesnakes, though.
Agreed. I
That's
mean,
what the Talons are. We're the season killers.
the problem with the Tornadoes last season, the reason they fell out of the playoffs was they had no offense. They couldn't find a rhythm offensively. They found it so far this season. They look better. Ken Yang playing really well. Irv Bishop coming off the bench playing really well. Preston Hunter facilitating well. So far, offensively, these guys have looked much better this season. So I agree with A tier. Last but not least, your Vegas Dragons. So, on one hand, the Dragons have, I think, the third or fourth best record in the league. And it's not like they haven't played a lot of games. They've got like 12 games total or something like that. On another hand, they have played quite a few user teams. I definitely think they're towards the top for amount of user games played. But on the third hand, A lot of their user games have been against the Warriors, the Assassins, the Lynx. They haven't really played much stiff competition yet. They did beat the Assassins though. That was big. That was very big. Oh, Dragons, Vern
So
Beard.
we've seen them beat like these C tier teams,
Yes, with ease.
these B and C.
They whooped on the Warriors twice.
But then they come plummeting back down to earth once they go up against the top teams.
No, no. When they played the Hoop Stars, it was a close game.
I thought the Hoop Stars ran away with it.
I think it was 10 to 15 points, which for an expansion team, like
Maybe,
for a
maybe
regular,
I'm wrong.
yeah, a regular game, you'd think 10 to 15 points is a lot, but it's an expansion team versus a team that just had 7 first-round draft picks in the previous draft. So, Vern Beard looking to make a name for herself. An absolute Cinderella story through college. Everybody thought it was going to be a bust in the pros. Found herself in free agency to start the season, picked up by the Dragons. Vern made the decision. Vern got an offer from the Bobcats. Bobcats wanted Vern Beard. She chose the Dragons. Steve Carter, an animal. Kenneth Michael, surprise of the year so far. Offensively doing something. Never did anything offensively in college. A plus? B? S? A.
Eh.
Going A tier.
F?
I put them in the same breath as the Stallions and Tornadoes. Uh, but kind of the opposite. Like the Stallions, they could be higher than A based on talent. They have a loaded roster. Give them a good game plan. Give them some good coaching. Like they figure out some of their flaws, and they could easily be better. But instead, not well managed. The GM's not too active. Focused more on Jack Morgan, which is not an insult. Just preference. Whereas the Dragons are the opposite. Don't have the most talented roster, but is driving this team to succeed by installing good game plans, good management of rotations. The players that are on the team have a lot of heart. Carter, Michael, Vern Beard, all are improving themselves constantly. So I'm going to go A tier. But this is my hot take. The Dragons have met their ceiling. They will go nowhere but down from here.
I can agree that they may have met their ceiling for this season.
Oh,
I
definitely,
think,
yeah. I'm just talking this season.
like, what I mean is when you go into the playoffs, though, I think you've got some people who are committed to improving their players with Kenneth Michael and Steve Carter and making that front court even better. And if they can keep up at this pace, I could see them competing with the Chupacabras or the Rattlesnakes. I just don't know if I could say that this team has the potential to be a championship team like the Bobcats or the Hoop Stars do,
Yep.
or even the other A plus tier teams have the capable of reaching, the ability to reach. I mean,
All right, guys, there's your tier list. Take a photo of it. Hopefully, your team wound up where you wanted them to be. Remember, this tier list will change throughout the season. We'll try to do it more often for you guys. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe. Go watch an SB&F podcast. Bean works pretty hard on those bad boys. Thanks, guys, for checking it out. I'll catch you on the next one.